Greetings, this is Dr. Aku. I will be sharing with you the No News is Good News chapter from Cultivating Inner Peace. This comes from the Blocking Negative Energy section. And afterwards, I will come back to share some additional tips, tools, and suggestions.
No News is Good News is the 9th chapter from Cultivating Inner Peace. Cultivate inner peace by minimizing your exposure to pessimistic, gloomy, and fatalistic stimuli. I'm not suggesting that you become uninformed, but that you consciously choose how you receive information to minimize feeding your soul with the poison of negativity. Because of their combined visual and auditory stimulation, the emotional content of films and television programs can affect your psychological health. Such stimuli affect your soul by directly affecting your mood, and your mood then changes many aspects of your thoughts and behavior. TV programs like network news generate negative feelings, for example, sadness, anger, disgust, and anxiety. These negative mood experiences affect how you interpret events in your own life, the types of memories you recall, and how much you worry about things in your world. For example, when I was in private practice, one of my patients, Sonia, called me one day in a horrible state of anxiety. Dr. Aku, I can't sleep or eat. I'm constantly worried about my family. I need to know where everyone is all the time. After speaking to her for just a few minutes, I was able to pinpoint the biggest problem. She had been watching the news non-stop since the planes hit the World Trade Center, and approximately a week had passed since the terrorist attack. We live in New York, so the impact of this tragedy was significant. However, Sonia did not know anyone who died on 9/11, and she was not directly affected by this event. She felt compelled to watch television as the tragedy was replayed over and over with audio and visual details and stories of loss. I told her, turn off the television. After she expressed a fear that she would miss something important, she agreed to turn off the TV for one day. Sonia reported, I can't believe such a little thing had such a big effect. Within a few hours, I started to feel a little better. I was able to let my husband go to work without making up an excuse to keep him home for fear that I might never see him again. Many bad things happen in the world. It is important that people be informed. This is of particular importance for us Black Americans who are still fighting injustice. The original role of the news correspondent or journalist was to impartially describe what was happening in the world. However, negative sensationalism in the news has gradually increased over the past 20 to 30 years. Today, news broadcasters tend to emotionalize their news. They do this by emphasizing any potential adverse outcome of a story, no matter how minuscule the risk of those negative outcomes. Today, the internet, smartphones, and YouTube offer us access to stimuli, negative or positive, at all times. This 24-hour news coverage increases competition and has pushed the job of the journalist beyond impartial descriptions and into the evaluation and often sensationalization of news stories. Bob Franklin, a professor of journalism studies, wrote some years ago, entertainment has superseded the provision of information. Human interest has supplanted the public interest. Measured judgment has succumbed to sensationalism. A study that examined the effects of 3 different short news bulletins, entirely negative news items, only positive news items, and emotionally neutral news items, demonstrated that the group who watched the negative news all reported feeling significantly more anxious and sadder than the other 2 groups. More interestingly, the people who watched the negative news items spent more time thinking and talking about what worried them and were more likely to catastrophize, meaning creating mountains out of molehills by imagining things being worse than they are, their concerns than the individuals in the other groups. Therefore, not only are negatively toned news broadcasts likely to make you feel sadder and more anxious, but they are also likely to exacerbate your personal worries and anxieties. The negative mindset and emotional experience caused by network news can potentially increase the range and intensity of personalized concerns not specifically related to the content of the program itself. Bombarding your soul with sensationalized negativity does have significant psychological effects. Instead of watching sensationalized television news, consider reading news articles. News available online or in print may still be sensationalized. These accounts, however, are less negatively stimulating because they lack visuals. In addition, you have greater control over how much and for how long you absorb the content. You can skim through or stop reading when you've had enough, instead of being forced to wait for the next news item. Listening to news radio will affect you less. Because news radio provides information in short clips without visuals, you get the information with minimal negative stimuli. Even better, you could listen to public radio stations like NPR, National Public Radio, because the presentation of news is less sensationalized. Consider taking it one step further and paying attention to how all television shows and social media affect you. I enjoy watching The Walking Dead while riding my exercise bike because I focus on the love between the surviving humans, and pedaling away from the zombies gives me a great workout. However, I had to leave the room while my husband viewed a war movie depicting harm to women and children. Zombies are not real, so their negativity does not seem to affect me. War is real, so even fictionalized accounts are too attached to real possibilities for me to watch while remaining unaffected. With a little bit of trial and error, you can find the balance that works for you. One that allows you to know what's going on in the world, but doesn't allow negative news to cultivate personal negativity and ruin your inner peace. No news is good news, mommy wisdom. For your family, find ways to empower yourself and your children when it is impossible to stay away from negative news, such as another lynching of a Black boy. In these situations, it is not enough merely to avoid the repeated replay on network news and YouTube. Empowerment is found through education and positive protest. Learn and then teach your child the most effective ways to respond when stopped by the police. Write a letter, join a peaceful protest, or organize a group. Find a way to deal with how you feel, even if it's just talking it out with like-minded people. You will return to inner peace much more quickly if you deal with your feelings rather than suppress them. Engage in less dramatic methods of discussing distressing issues. I often use episodes of African American situation comedies or movies as a conversation starter. For example, Season 3, Episode 4 of Blackish, entitled Who's Afraid of the Big Black Man, provides an opportunity to talk about one of many challenging issues. In this episode, the father panics when he gets pulled over by the police because he has a Caucasian neighbor in his front seat who is drunk and unconscious. The main character imagines every possible scenario that ends with him either in jail or dead. This dramatic depiction of a common event allows for a less dramatic abstract discussion that will prepare your child for real circumstances. That was the No News is Good News chapter from Cultivating Inner Peace. Don't forget to subscribe to get notification when the next chapter is available. Please share your thoughts, feelings, and experiences in the comments. Visit draku.com, DRAKHU.com, for more ways to replace toxic stress with inner peace.
Greetings, welcome back. So, now that you've heard all the details about no news being good news, I want you to give it a try. I want you to try for a whole week to not watch any network news and see how it makes you feel. And then go back and try watching one network news show, spend an hour, and notice how that makes you feel. You are in charge of your energy. You have to decide what you let in and what you block so that you can cultivate your own inner peace. Don't forget to sign up for notifications so that you can find out when the next chapter is available. Peace and blessings.